and welcome to ROpocalypse Now. It's about that time. Yeah, hopefully you're seeing what it is I want you to see. We're going to be going over today, as we had talked about last session, broadcast, the Emerald Road. This Hermetics, that's basically what this show is all about. And I'm going to be doing these little videos. I am presenting on my favorite topics so that I don't have to go back and do it every time from the beginning. So today I'm not going to be on camera because I've got, I'm not wearing a suit, frankly. And I like to wear suits when I'm on the camera. Okay, so today's topic is the Emerald Road. Last time we talked a little bit about where we come from, the fact that we are gods. We'll go ahead and do the whole review slide here. We went over how we were made in the image of God, that we were the crown creation. All the different spirits love us. They love to hang out with us. They love to help us. When we originally manifested, we descended through the 7 spheres. We met with each of the intelligences and the governors of each sphere, and we were given a portion of their power. They taught us how to create, how to direct the forces that they represent. They basically did all this stuff because we're the little brother that everybody loved. The bottom line was that thou art God. We were made in the image of God, and we are here to create the world. So what does that mean? What does it mean to be a God? It means that we do create the world. We speak it into being. One of the definitions of abracadabra was, I speak it into being, or I create by speaking, or something like that. That's basically the meaning of it. It might not be the literal translation. I'm not very good at those. But, you get the point. We speak things into being. We create things. That's what we're here to do. We create the world, and we experience it. That's how it all works. If you've seen my other presentation, that's like 5 or 10 hours long, where I talk about the nothing but an I talk about the mystery of creation and the manifestation of human beings in it, and that they're basically sensory banks, little flesh suits that get to come down into the material world and experience it, take our experiences, and then feed it back up into the universal Godhead, because he has to manifest. It has to manifest itself, individuated, to be able to experience itself. Otherwise, there's really no point in the whole contraction of infinite light and creation of the elemental world and manifestation of all the people, because he was kind of already everything before he did all that. So to experience that, he had to manifest as us. So anyway, we're created in his image. We are here to create our world and then to experience it. And for most people, a normal mundane life is all they need. A lot of people are happy. Joe and Mary's six-pack, as my brother-in-law calls it. They're fine and content to just be born, live, go to school, get an education, get a job, go home, have 2.5 kids, have a nice car, and then wrap things up and exit the stage right. But that's not what magicians are here to do. We like to be a little bit more active in our participation. It's not for everyone. Everybody isn't called to that. It's okay to not become a magician. But if you're going to become a magician, you're going to experience life a little bit differently. You're going to want to reconnect with your powers as a creator God, and you're going to want to be able to project your will into this material world and create it the way you see fit. And that's what this presentation is about, how we do that. So the whole the Hermetic approach to creating the world is all laid out in the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. It's a text that probably was written in the 1st through 3rd centuries, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. There's a bunch of different translations out there. It's obviously a work of alchemical allegory, but it provides the basic process and approach that Hermeticists use in their ritual approach to accomplishing the great work. You'll see that we have the universe card here. What that represents is the one eye, the observant eye, that represents sort of that membrane that separates eternal God from the material world. He's watching it through us. You see the gold light coming out of the eye. That's the beaming forth of the true will. It's the axle on which the world rotates. It becomes the serpent. The serpent is dancing with the woman. The woman sort of represents the meat. The spiritus mundi, that receives the seed of the will of God and projects that through the 4 elemental animals, elemental kingdoms, and it creates the world. And then if you see the little green beams going back into the eye, that's sort of the experience of this material world going back up. So you can see here in the universe card the entire accomplished magician and the whole process of how we create and experience our universe. Okay, so the path to do all this, to become a fully actualized Hermetic magician, is laid out here in the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. It is describing the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. It's an allegory. You should read through it. There's a lot of complicated stuff in there that it's very useful. Its father is the sun, its mother is the moon. The wind carried it in its womb. The earth breastfed it. There's that particular verse 4 and 5. Those are pretty key things that pop up across the different systems in the Golden Dawn, the OTO, the AA, pretty much every system that's based on Hermetics. There's some pretty interesting mysteries that can be found in those verses. But that's not what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on 2, 8, and 11 because I like them. What is above is like what is below, and what is below is like that which is above. To make the miracle of the one thing, you understand that the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. That's sort of it's very important to understand if you're going to be a creator God. You need to understand that what we build up in the spiritual world is also what we're going to experience here in the physical world. We do this magic where we go into the celestial realms and we construct these entities and we work with the forces and we build the things up above and then they manifest down here below. That's how we do it. Okay. It works because the astral, the celestial, the planetary spiritual world is the prototype that the material world has to be built on. So if you can build up sort of this spiritual framework for what you want, you'll manifest it here below. That's the basic theory. So moving on. How you go about doing this is described in verse 8. with great capacity it ascends from earth to heaven, and then it descends to earth and takes back the power of the above and the below. There you have it. You know, you go up to the spiritual world, you go up to the heavens, and you get some power, and you descend to the earth, and you project that power into the material world. Thus, the world was created. We see it in 11. So that's basically it. You know, that's the whole path. So to summarize it, you ascend through the heavens, and then you return in power. Are you keeping up? I sure hope so, because I'm running out of slides. So, okay. Now we're going to get into actual highly detailed part. You can tell because I have 4 bullets on this slide. This is the fun part. The things that I do, I learned about in Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. I read a lot of Crowley, and then avoided Crowley like the plague because of his Golden Dawn affiliations, and dove into his source materials and found Agrippa. It was awesome. I found the entire path laid out, all the information he needed, and I was able to go from there. So what I found was a process of basically you conjure spirits. They assist you in initiation into each of their spheres. You go through the spheres. They teach you how the forces of their sphere manifest in the material world, how they manifest in you personally. As you go through the initiation process, you figure out what parts of yourself are fucked up as they relate to that particular sphere. You know, if you have like sexual issues, then when you go through the sphere of Venus, you might have some of those issues crop up to work through. If you have, if you're super naive, or you're always prone to be deluded by various types of illusions, you know, when you go through the sphere of Moon, you might have some issues crop up there. But when you're going through this process, you conjure the spirits and you ask them for initiation. They kind of watch over you, and they protect you, and they guide you, and they teach you, and they create these situations for you to experience this stuff in a way that is, I mean, it's not fun necessarily. It can be painful, but it's not bad. It's always good. You always get to a place where you're stronger. You always come through it. You always appreciate it. It's never bad. You know, it never is something that you wish you hadn't done. I'm trying to stress that because it's, I don't know, I think it's easy for people to forget. Anyway, you go through this process. They make you a better person. They teach you how to use their forces, and they teach you how to integrate that power into your life and how to use it consciously. And then you turn around, you come back to the material world, and you project those forces into what you want. All right? So, I think, yeah, that's actually the last slide I put together, which I sort of regret now. I wish I had a slide that showed all 7 spheres on it. But basically, the Hermetic thing that we do, there's a, let's see here, you know, like, just hang with me. I'll go ahead and babble a little bit while I look for my slideshow that has the graphics that I wish I had included. Aha, there it goes. Okay, so that wasn't bad, right? Really badly. Okay, so this is the Hermetic cosmos. The picture on the right is from Ptolemy. You've got the geocentric world. This is the basic foundation upon which the Hermetic practice of ascending through the spheres and returning in power is based on. In the center, we've got the four, well, I guess it's 3 spheres here, but that actually mirrors what it says in Pymander, that there's fire, air, and then earth and water are mingled in the center. That's the material world. And then from the middle going up, you'll see Luna, the moon, then Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jovis is Jupiter, and Saturn. Those are the 7 planetary spheres. Each of those spheres represents something you should go through. You need to conjure each of those governors, the intelligences of that particular sphere, and you ask them for an initiation. I prefer to do it this way than going through something like the Golden Dawn system, where a human being is sitting there holding the image of a god form in their mind. You know, I'm a cat-headed god. I'm a cat-headed god. I'm a cat-headed god. I forgot to feed the cats. Shit. Oh yeah, I'm a cat-headed god. You know, that's sort of what I picture going through their minds while I'm being initiated, and I don't like people. I don't really trust them. You know, I'd much rather conjure up an intelligence or an archangel of the actual sphere that represents what I want to be initiated into, and, you know, let them do it rather than trust some people who may or may not have been doing their great work. You know, I mean, I know how hard it is for me to sit down and do an asana meditation for half an hour every fucking day, and I wouldn't trust me to initiate anybody, you know, so why would I trust anybody else? I don't know. I'm kind of getting over that, I guess. But anyway, this is safer. So you conjure up the archangel of each of these spheres. I don't remember what all this. Oh, those are the names of the archangels, I think. In on the left there, yeah, that's the celestial script. So those are the Hebrew names of the archangels of each sphere. So the moon is Gabriel, of Mercury is Raphael, Venus is Hanael in this particular one, or Anael is another version of the name. There's Michael the Sun. There is Canael of Mars. Let's see, I think this is Tzadkiel and Tzafkiel of Jupiter and Saturn. From the sphere of the zodiac, we have Rufus, I think, and then Metatron at the very top. Anyway, those are the 10 spheres that are listed in Agrippa in the scale of number 10. Those are the intelligences or the archangels of each of the spheres. The pattern, the path. Different texts have different archangels and different spheres. Usually it's just the Sun and Mercury that get interchanged. Raphael and Michael, I think it makes more sense this way because Raphael means the healing of God. Mercury has some very healing properties to it, whereas the Sun is sort of the conqueror solar thing, and that's Michael to me. So to me, Michael and the Sun makes more sense. Now, getting back to the actual point of this presentation, you conjure up these archangels. You ask them to initiate into their sphere. They take you through the process of learning what the forces are, how they manifest in the world at large, you know, externally to yourself, and also internally to yourself, and how you're personally fucked up when it comes to their sphere, and they help you work through it. They teach you how to integrate the forces, and then when you go about creating your world, you you have the power there for you. And you can just sort of, I don't know how to explain it. You find yourself doing things that help you get what you want, you know. As you go through the spheres and you eliminate some of the dross, the impurities that you have related to each of the spheres, you learn more about yourself. You learn who you are. You learn what the forces of Venus mean to you, you know, what you're going to do with it based on your desires, based on your reason for incarnating. You learn so much, really, about yourself in this process. So, yeah, that about wraps it up. You know, I can talk forever about this kind of thing. And this particular series of presentations, I'm trying to keep brief. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I guess I should probably mention the elemental initiations also. In the Blackboard course, I walk people through the conjuration of the 4 elemental princes. They are technically sort of almost kind of, I call them terrestrial spirits, and we'll just leave it at that. They manage the material world. They're like the construction crew. You know, the 7 archangels are sort of like the architects. They put together the blueprints. They turn it over to their foreman. The site foreman's like, okay, guys, let's get to work on this. And then the specialists come in, and the concrete pourers do their concrete pouring, and the masonry people do their masonry stuff, and the lumber people build the frame, and the roofers put the roof on, and the drywall team puts the drywall team on. You know, and that's basically how the spiritual system works too. The archangels provide the intellectual kind of inputs, you know, the invisible forces that you materialize through your symbols as a magician, and then you're kind of the foreman in this, and the terrestrial spirits are the teams of physical experts who actually know how to turn the plans on the blueprint into an actual material representation. So that's basically it. That's how you create the world. You know, you conjure, you go through an initiation, you integrate the forces, and you project them. It's really not that hard. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It can take a year to integrate all these forces. I have a course I'm going to be teaching pretty soon. It's basically taking you through each of the 7 spheres over a period of about 5 weeks. And I'm waiting to hear back from that one on that particular book pretty soon. I should be hearing from them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I know I kind of rambled today, but I'm a little tired and I've got other things in my mind. So, you know, deal with it. All right, thanks a lot. Oh, okay, so I'm not quite gone yet, as you can see. I should be gone here in just a little bit. Okay, so now you should be seeing my